Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the full card of fights for UFC Fight Night, Nurmagomedov versus Song. So without further ado, let's get to our first fight on the card. So in our first fight, let's scroll on down. We have in the welterweight division, we got Ming Ding versus Cam Nelson. And how do I feel about this one right here is I'll go low confidence Cam Nelson to beat Ming Ding. So both fighters, in my opinion, are very unproven. Ming Ding got some power on his feet, on the feet, got a bit of striking. Nothing too amazing. Cam Nelson seems to be the more well-rounded fighter, the more put together package. But again, I can't be too this and that. But one thing I for sure can't really get behind a guy that just, had his shots and just cannot really come to the table or rise to the occasion. Cam Nelson, this is his first shot, underneath the UFC lights. And I think he'll rise to the occasion. I think he's a more well-rounded fighter. Meaning he might purely be the better striker, but I think Cam Nelson can mix up if he is having issues on the feet. And I think Cam Nelson will be more rounded, will be able to mix it up, and that will be the difference here. And I think he'll be able to beat Ming Ding to a clear decision after 15 minutes. So in this one, I got Cam Nelson via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the women's strawweight division, we got Jong versus Julia Palashi. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'll go low confidence Julia Palashi to beat Jong. And really just going with the youthful upside. And it's not like Palashi has been fighting cans and losing cans. I think Palashi's a solid talent. I think she still can build and still grow. She's only 28. Jong is 10 years older than her. And Jong has never been a fighter known for, she's such a talented striker, such a talented grappler. If anything, Jong is like a mediocre fighter that just tries real hard. Got a little bit of power, and outside of this, a mediocre fighter that tries real hard. Palashi, I think, is a more technical striker than her. Probably more technical striker, more technical grappler. It is in China, which is a concern, but I ain't going to worry about it too much. Either way, I'm not really betting this fight. Probably going to go to distance either way. But I think Julia Palashi will be the cleaner striker, and I think she'll be able to mix in the grappling well enough to edge a close decision over Jong. But again, leaning with the youthful side, a fighter that can still grow. Again, 28, not even her 30 yet. Talented. We look at her resume, look back some of the losses, like, you really can't fault her too much. She lost like Jasmine Vickers on Contender Series. She lost to some of the better grapplers, or around her ranking, some of the better grapplers like Alan Carr and whatnot. What's her name? Lupita Godinez, who in her own right, a very talented fighter, or was a young talent fighter, still a young talent fighter, and Lupita Godinez, who when she fought people that had more experience, she had a tendency to come up short. So Palashi came up short in a fight against a talented fighter who just as talented but more experienced. But I think Palashi will be the more talented fighter here. Youthful upside, I think she can grow and continue to build, and I think she'll be able to show growth in this fight and be able to beat Jong, who's very linear and very just straightforward, to the point, not much skill, just will. I think Palashi will be able to just be the more technical fighter and beat Jong by decision here. And I think her youth will help her as well to keep up with some of that tenacity that Jong has. The younger fighter typically can push a little bit more than the fighter that's 38 pushing 40. So in this one, I got Julia Palashi via decision. Now to the next fight we have in the bantamweight division, we got Louie versus Hector Santiago. And how do I feel about this one right here is I'll go low confidence Louie to beat Hector Santiago. So yeah, Santiago's definitely live in this fight, but going with Louie's momentum coming off of winning the Contender Series, not Contender Series, but the road to UFC. So I'm typically going to favor guys that got momentum. Santiago seems to have a decent little kickboxing background, and it's probably going to be striking, but I think Louie can mix in the grappling to give himself a better edge. But Louie's chin is a concern. Santiago does got big power. He can cut the cage off, cut the ring off pretty well, so that's concerns there. But I think Louie will be able to use his length, be more dynamic on the feet, and also mix in the grappling to be the edge of decision over Santiago. But by no means is this a cakewalk, and my confidence is low. I can't just be like, and Santiago still, again, much of a wild card. I haven't seen enough of him to say this. I have not seen enough of Louie, but I do think this is a fight that Louie should win. So that's more so that Louie should win this fight. It's not like, Louie's going to win for sure for this. He should win it. A lot of words to just say he should win. That's about it. But more well-rounded, better momentum, should win Louie. So in this one, I got Louie via decision. Now the next fight we have in the featherweight division, we got Jenkins versus Woodson. And how do I feel about this one right here is I'll go low confidence Jenkins to beat Woodson. I think the leg kicks of Jenkins will do great damage to Woodson. And I think take the legs away, I think he'll be able to find the shots up top. And when Woodson gets connected on the chin, he has a very big issue with, getting back in the fight. He struggles to recover. He does not recover well once he gets clipped. Now, that probably, the testament to all the weight he cuts, or that's probably attributed to all the weight he cuts. He's huge for the weight class. So, you know, you got some drawbacks. Like say you suck so much water out of your body that when you get hit, like your body just can't recover. It's saying maybe you like with that frame you were at 170, you were at 155, but being like what 6'3" at 145. Yeah, that's one of the drawbacks of cutting that much weight. Like, yeah, you're gonna have a whole 2 foot reach on somebody, but if they can find that button, it's hard for you to get back stable. Like, and I have not really seen any fight where he got clipped that he was able to, you know, really thoroughly get back in the fight. Yeah, but yeah, I think Jenkins will be attacked late, which I wasn't. I think the length will be an issue early, but I think Jenkins will do a good job of start timing the jabs, timing the boxing, and attacking the lead leg of Woodson, which, you know, he's heavy on the leg. He likes to jab a lot. He'll be heavy on that lead leg. Jack Jenkins has some of the heaviest leg kicks in the game right now. He's broken multiple guys' legs with leg kicks. And I think he'll be able to attack the slender man on his long, skinny legs, do some damage, limit his boxing, and then be able to close that distance and start to land and crack him with heavy shots on the side to the body, to the head. I think this goes the full distance. I think this is a close fight, probably split decision. Wasn't probably get up to an early lead, but Jenkins doing a good job of rallying and dealing more damage to eke past in the third round. So like probably first round go to Woodson, second round goes to Jenkins, third round the one up for grabs, but the damage that Jenkins had done early in the fight, attacking the legs, will have accumulated, and then he'll be able to edge the third round. Close fight, probably split decision, but Jack Jenkins doing enough to come away with the win. So in this one, I got Jack Jenkins via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the bantamweight division, we got Long Zhao versus Francisco Newsie. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'll go low confidence Long Zhao to beat Francisco Newsie. So Newsie seemed like a decent talent, but I feel like relatively broadly speaking, I feel like they kind of got similar skill sets, but I feel like Long Zhao's better. And also he's more proven, more tested. I think he'll be fast, I think he'll be more sharper, and I think he'll be the physically stronger guy if they lock up. I think he'll have the better time with his strikes. Competitive fight, but I think Long Zhao should be able to come away with, especially with this fight being in China, should be able to come away with the decision victory after 15 minutes. But again, just being sharper, more technical, more experienced, and being able to beat Newsie by decision. So in this one, I got Long Zhao via decision. Now to our next fight. Yeah, our next fight we have in the flyweight division, we got Tsuruya versus Kevin Borhas. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'll go average confidence Tsuruya to beat Kevin Borhas. So Kevin Borhas grappling is the weakest part of his game, extremely weak in the grappling department. Tsuruya is extremely strong in the grappling department. Yeah, extremely strong in the grappling department. Relentless with his wrestling, underrated with his striking. I think he'll be able to put it all together, get on the inside. Again, if he don't get the first takedown, the second takedown, third, fourth takedown, he'll get the fifth takedown. And on the ground, I think he'll dominate Borhas. I think he'll be able to break him down. You know, struggle to get taken down early in the first round, but once he gets to start to really dominate Borhas on the ground, then the second round, easier, rinse, repeat, get him down. But this time he got way more time to work with on the ground with Borhas. Just break him down, heavy ground and pound, and then eventually find submission about 2 minutes into the second round. He gets Borhas out of there via submission. So in this one, I got Tsuruya via second round submission. Now for the next fight we have in the flyweight division, we got Andre Lima versus Nurmagomedov Badabayar. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'll go average confidence Andre Lima to beat Nurmagomedov Badabayar. I think Andre Lima is just a better overall fighter. I think he's a better striker, better grappler. He's more tested, more proven. I think he'll be able to break Badabayar down over the course of this fight and then eventually find a submission in the third round. So in this one, I got Andre Lima via third round submission. Now to the next fight we have in the flyweight division, we got Bilal Hassan versus Nilson Rojos. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'll go average confidence Bilal Hassan to beat Nilson Rojos. But yeah, Rojos is extremely live here. He's a solid fighter. But I just didn't feel like Bilal Hassan is just the better overall talent. The better striker, better grappler, just the better overall fighter. But these Peruvians are extremely tough. Rojos will be looking to push. He'll look to throw in combos, and he got some power. And like Hassan's very kicky, very kick heavy. And that could leave his chin suspect if Rojos is able to cover that distance and go close that distance. Throwing combination, he could find that chin. That's a concern there, but I think Bilal Hassan, you know, he'll be wise, he'll be privy to it. He'll maintain that kicking range very well. But I think Ross will be in this fight. He'll make it scrappy. He'll make a fight of it. Again, these Peruvians have been tough, and they have been extremely hard to put away, especially when, like, their first couple fights. I think later on, when maybe like their fifth, sixth fight, they start getting to stop. But as far as their first couple fights in the UFC, I've not really seen a Peruvian get sparked or stopped. Not submitted, not knocked out. Not as far as in the UFC. I don't know about on the regional scene where they're still learning. They grappling by trash a little bit. They get submitted. But as far as in the UFC, I have not seen them get. As far as in their first couple fights, 1, 2, 3, 4 fights, I have not seen them get submitted. I have not seen them get knocked out, and they always came to scrap. So I'm not expecting Ross to be any different. I'm expecting them to bring it out there. Good fight, but Bill Hassan, doing the better work on the feet and on the ground, and winning a clear decision against Ross. Clear but competitive scrap. Ross, definitely showing his heart, showing his grit, showing his talent as well. But Bill Hassan has been the more talented fighter, the more dynamic, the more fleshed out fighter, and being able to beat Rojos by decision here. So in this one, I got Bilal Hassan via decision. Now for the next fight we have in the light heavyweight division, we got Levy Rodriguez versus Silu. And how do I feel about this one right here is I'll go low confidence Silu to beat Levy Rodriguez Jr. Levy Rodriguez Jr. is primarily a striker. Silu, I don't know too much about his grappling, but I think he should be enough to beat Rodriguez Jr. Rodriguez Jr. also coming off, losing the fight, getting stopped, and his fight on the Contender Series that he won, he popped for steroids or something. So we don't know where his skills at right now. Like, without the steroids, that really are you even like worthy to be here without steroids? So a lot of different factors. So primarily striker. Silu is like actually a world-class kickboxer. And I think he'll be able to address the grappling enough. Again, assuming, I have not seen it enough. But I'm guessing, more so hoping. Sometimes based on what I've seen, I can assume. This is really a guess. I can't really say I've seen enough. This is a guess. Other ones might be the educated guess. Oh, I've seen that guy. He got like a 75% takedown defense ratio, 83%. Oh, he fought like 4 D1 wrestlers and held them all combined to 1 takedown out of 20. That guy for sure gonna shut the takedown. Like, Silu, it's not even an educated guess. It's a hopeful guesstimation. So I think hopeful guesstimation. I think he'll be able to address the grappling. Rodriguez not the best grappler. And then, obviously, I think he's a much sharper striker. And I think he'll be able to break Rodriguez down and stop him in the second round via TKO. So in this one, I got Silu via second round TKO. Now for the next fight we have in the flyweight division, we got a rematch, Alex Perez versus Dery II. And how do I feel about this one right here is I'll go average confidence, Dery to beat Alex Perez. And how do I already said that. I'm repeating myself. But yeah, I think just as I said first, I have average confidence for Dery to beat Perez, and I have average confidence for him to beat him again. Obviously, Perez found a way to weasel his way out of the first fight, but he will not weasel his way out of this fight. I think Dery once again will be able to address the grappling. Get through the first round. That's where Perez wrestling gonna be at his most dangerous. Get through that round, constantly pepper him, break him down over the course of the fight, and then stop him third round. So really the same exact prediction I had the first fight. Again, get through that wrestling early. Let Perez throw his big shots. Let him try to hug you against the fence, but just dig into his body, land some elbows, land some knees, land some teeth to the body, inside the leg, and just chew him up. Again, you might drop the first round, but ultimately the more superior fighter gonna start to break Perez down, especially when Perez is not able to get his takedowns and not able to hold these takedowns. And again, too prolonged on the feet, eventually Perez will get stopped, and I think Dery stops him in the third round. So in this one, I got Dery via third round TKO. Now for the next fight we have in the bantamweight division, we got Aori Queenling versus Aori Queenling versus Kai Asakura. And how do I feel about this one? Is I'll go average confidence Kai Asakura to beat Aori Queenling. Again, single time I predict the Aori Queenling fight, I gotta say this. I have to say this. Aori Queenling is a zombie punching bag, and I'm gonna say it a bazillion times. However many times you need me to say it, I'm gonna say it a million times more than you need me to say it. You needed me to say it once, I'm gonna say it 1,000,001 times. Aori Queenling is a zombie punching bag. Kai Asakura just a much better talent, better striker. Can't really say better grappler, but Aori Queenling ain't much of a grappler, so there ain't no issue here for Asakura. His 2 losses in UFC were the grapplers. Aori Queenling is not that. He's a slow, lurching, punching bag zombie. And then Kai Asakura will be too fast, too sharp, too technical, and more than willing to crack him. And Aori Queenling coming off fighting where he got cracked. Now he's fighting a guy with much sharp on the feet, much faster, much quicker, more technical. And Asakura is going to be more than accepting to hit Aori Queenling as many times as Aori Queenling will let him hit him, which will be pretty much probably like a 90% accuracy, 80% accuracy. Well, probably 88% or higher. Maybe it will be 100%. And I think he sparks Aori Queenling in the first round via TKO. So in this one, I got Kai Asakura via first round TKO. Now to our co-main event, we have in the women's strawweight division, we got Xiao Nan versus Denise Gomez. And how do I feel about this one right here is I'll go low confidence. I will go low confidence Xiao Nan to beat Denise Gomez. Yeah. Low confidence you to beat you. I think grappling relatively even, relatively irrelevant. If anything, I think Xiao Nan is going to win on the feet and on the ground wherever this fight takes place. But primarily striking battle. Xiao Nan is the more experienced fighter, the more accomplished fighter. Still got a lot left in the tank. I think she'll be able to control the clinch, control the grappling if it goes there. And on the feet, I think she's a sharper, longer striker. Should be able to outstrike Gomez relatively cleanly. I'm not expecting an easy fight, but I do think a clear win for Xiao Nan after 15 minutes. Well, Xiao Nan is a lot older now than she was, 37. I did not think she was 37. But by the way, that's something to think about. But again, this is not no average confidence. This is just, why did I say? I did switch it to average on the quick pick. So, average confidence. If you heard it wrong, well, you heard exactly what I was saying. But to correct myself, it's average confidence. But I'm still going average confidence. Why not? She should definitely win this fight. Still the more technical striker, still the more technical grappler, still the better overall fighter. I think she'll be addressing anything Gomez brings. Push higher pace. Well, Gomez will probably push higher pace, but Xiao Nan will better be able to navigate the pace and navigate the tempo, land the cleaner shots, and deal the more damage and control the pace of this fight and win a clear decision after 15 minutes. So in this one, I got Xiao Nan via decision. Now to our main event, we have in the bantamweight division, we have Umar Nurmagomedov versus Yadong Song. And how do I feel about this one right here is I'll go average confidence Umar Nurmagomedov to beat Yadong Song. Yeah, I'm liking what Yadong Song is doing. Like he's looking like he's doing very well in his camp with his wrestling. You know, he looked good against Figueiredo grappling wise, but obviously Figueiredo is a former flyweight and a former flyweight in a past his prime flyweight. Where he's fighting a prime Umar Nurmagomedov. You know, been around an amazing training camp. You know, been around Islam Makhachev, been around his brother Usman Nurmagomedov, and obviously himself, Umar Nurmagomedov. Like, so he's been around a lot of greatness, and I'm pretty sure he's more than motivated to come here and have a great performance. I think this goes the full 25 minutes. I like what Yadong Song is doing, but you can't disrespect Umar Nurmagomedov to just be a wrestler. If anything, Umar Nurmagomedov is more striker than grappler, and he does a great job of mixing up. He's very fast. He's very quick. I just said the same thing twice. Underrated. Extremely underrated as far as his technique on the feet. And then on top of that, he can blend his striking with his grappling very well. Unlike many guys can. Like he's probably in the top 1% as far as blending his striking with his grappling. I ain't saying he's the top 10 for sure, but top 1% for sure. Probably like top 100. Well, that's 100 even too, but probably like top 20 in the whole world of MMA actively at mixing striking with grappling across all weight class. And maybe even you could say top 15, top 10. So he's very good at mixing. I'm not going to say top 3, but top 10 I'd probably say for sure. But yeah, a lot of yapping to say this, to say that. So again, I like work Yadong Song's doing, but ultimately, I think Umar Nurmagomedov is a better overall fighter. I think he'll do a better job of blending martial arts. I feel like Song, as far as takedowns, is going to be like under 1.5. Umar Nurmagomedov probably over 3.5. Probably going to get like 5 takedowns at least. Song probably will get 1 takedown at most. So that's going to be a factor there. Striking total going to be probably relatively close. You know, relatively close in the best case scenario for Yadong Song. It's going to be relatively close in the best case scenario for Yadong Song. The worst case scenario, Song might get worn down and submitted. That's worst case scenario. Best case scenario will be close. Either Song just landing probably 1, 2, 3 more strikes, or Umar Nurmagomedov probably landing 10 more strikes. So that's probably going to be at best case scenario for Yadong Song. But then you mix in the takedowns. Nurmagomedov probably going to have, again, I'll say 5 takedowns. So a fight that at best going to be close, Nurmagomedov going to have the takedown advantage as well. But what I really see, I probably see like Nurmagomedov landing 20 more strikes. Probably about 10 more significant, 20 total more strikes. Winning rounds clear, competitive rounds, but clear rounds for Nurmagomedov. Song, again, struggling to deal with the variety that Nurmagomedov can be bringing. And high-level skills on both offensive striking and offensive wrestling. Keeping Song busy and keeping him guessing. And Song just struggling to keep up and almost just kind of playing the second fiddle, playing the player B and on the responsive more than the offensive. Whenever you're too much on the responsive, and then like you're too much on the responsive, you're not like a counter. Like I feel like you're the counter fighter. Sometimes it's good to be. No matter of fact, it's phenomenal to be the response guy. But Song's not a counter striker. So Counter Strikers, like, they're excellent at playing player B. Like, oh, you go first. Like, you got a good groove going on. You land, outlanded me. Oh, but I keep seeing you keep dropping that right hand. Bam! That's like the people that, probably like the only people that should be playing player B. But everybody was playing player B. It's just a recipe to end up on the wrong side of the decision. A lot of times those be close decisions as well. Cause like, you'll be in there, you'll be responding, but they always one up on you. They score a point and you just constantly try to get that point back, and they get in another point. They get a point, you get a point. They get a point, you get a point. And ultimately you end up 1 point less. A lot of times sometimes they get 2 points and you just try and catch up. They just, again, either way, whether you playing behind by 1 point or 2 points, or the gap just keeps getting bigger and bigger. You're just playing from behind. I feel like Song, a lot of times in these matchups, he just ends up in that role where he's just playing catch up and he never catches up. Or sometimes he does get off to a good start, but then he starts to get, the other people are able to make adjustments and they leave him behind. So it's either one, like, he gets caught trying to catch up, or and down the stretch, they got a second win and they got a second gear and he's unable to make the adjustments, whereas they're able to make adjustments and they're able to win the fight. But either way, I see Umar Nurmagomedov winning a clear decision after 25 minutes. So in this one, I got Umar Nurmagomedov via decision. And so that concludes my fight predictions for the full card of fights for UFC Fight Night, Nurmagomedov versus Song. And as always, thanks for watching. Peace.